Okay, so in the midst of award season, we have the return of Celebrity Apprentice. And last year, you guys kind of got cut off at the end. Yeah. That second part of that video where Penn Jillette was unjustly fired will never see the light of day. I will never film that. Because that was the first year that I actually had a real stake in the competition. Penn Jillette was someone I wanted in the cast ever since you first told me about it.
Given the circumstances of his firing, I'm kind of surprised that you even watched this season.
Yeah. I don't know. I just... And reading about how the Celebrity Apprentice was being talked about when they were filming it, how this season actually might have been canceled, and how there was going to be a chance this was going to be the lost season, it kind of made me interested, and then I read the cast list, I'm like, I don't really know most of these people.
You could see why it could have totally, been the lost season, and
Yeah.
nobody would have blinked an eye.
Oh, you mean like the season of The Surreal Life that never happened? Like, that was remember that show back in the day, boys and girls? Yeah, I do. Surreal Life got quickly ended. So, this season is a lot of people that maybe I'm just out of touch. I don't really know most of these people, do you? And we're going to talk about the teams in a minute.
More of them than I thought.
Really? So we're going to talk... Oh, I have me notes here. I feel like a pirate. I didn't mean to say it like that. Basically, that's just me trying to completely answer for the fact that I'm going to be looking downwards a lot. And I'm just have these ratty pieces of paper in my hands the whole time. So, yay for homework.
I'm still kind of trying to get to know them. The start of The Apprentice is kind of like the first day of school.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's some people there that you know from previously in your
hey,
life.
it's that guy, and that's that girl.
And then there are these new people you've never met before.
I like...
And you kind of have to, match their face with their name over the next few days. Or in this case, weeks.
And I can't tell you what some of these people are famous for, but maybe you can. We're going to start with the men's team. We're going to start with the patriarch of the group, which is Geraldo Rivera, who is quickly becoming one of the most hated men on reality television.
He's basically the Piers Morgan of this season.
He really is.
In
Him
many
and his
ways.
awesome pink glasses. Obviously, I remember watching Geraldo when I was growing up, because there was nothing else on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so why not? Watch a little bit of Geraldo. Johnny Damon, apparently he's a baseball player.
Yeah.
Wasn't he like a Yankee or something? I don't know. I'm guessing. They did say that he has cred in New York, so I'm going to guess that means he's a Yankee.
Yeah, he had people were running up to him and
Yeah.
were very happy about it. So
I'm sorry you guys know, neither AJ or myself are into sports, so I would know these people from Adam. I know, is Johnny Damon the one that kind of has the Wolverine like mutton chops? It's correct. I'm not lying.
People were much nicer to him on the street than they were to Blagojevich when they were walking up to him saying "Hey man, enjoy prison."
Yeah, that was awesome. We got to learn Rod real quick.
Isn't he still there now too?
I think he is. He's probably watching this video right now. Hi, Rod. So we're going to go to Ian, and it actually says on my notes, EYE-IAN.
Yeah, in the Sharknado reviews, I was totally calling him Ian, and now...
Yeah. I wasn't a 90210 fan. Obviously, Ivanka is. But we learned that rather quickly. But I wasn't a 90210 fan. I never got into 90210. I was really, definitely into Melrose Place, but I never got into 90210. I know what you're thinking. 90210 came first. Well, yeah, it did, but I thought Melrose Place was better, but that's just me. Then we have Kevin Jonas of the Jonas Brothers.
Did have.
Hey, we're not there yet. We got 3 episodes to go through here. Don't forget that. We got Terrell Owens, or Terrell Owens, depending on who's talking at the time, because I heard it both ways.
I think Trump's the only one that says Terrell.
I think it's Terrell. I'm pretty sure it is. T.O. We'll go with T.O.
Yeah, everybody in the boardroom calls him T.O.
Yeah, everybody calls him T.O. It's kind of funny to hear him. We have Sig Hansen from The Deadliest Catch. Yeah, I don't know. I don't watch The Deadliest Catch. I don't know anything about it. I think it might have been Rolling Stock at one point, maybe.
I know of the show's existence, and that's all I care to know.
Yeah, we have the person that I wanted to win all of a sudden, obviously, would be the token comedian on the show, and that's Gilbert Gottfried, which made me very happy of his inclusion on the show. I thought that he would be really fun until he screwed up and got fired.
Not counting the All-Stars one, the comedian of the group had just one.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
That was probably never going to happen.
And then we have Lorenzo Lamas from Renegade. So, yeah. And apparently other things, too.
So
I know him from Renegade because of USA was leading the Raw.
The funny thing about him is I don't think I've seen any of the movies he was in.
Probably not.
But he still looks familiar. Like, from those kind of movies.
I've seen this guy in something. Let's go to the women's team, and this was the team that I actually really am clueless on, honestly. We'll go with Vivica A. Fox, which of course we know, famous actress. Yeah, exactly, Renita Green. And Lisa Gibbons. She's did a lot of like the TV journalism shows.
Did you have to Google that?
No.
Oh.
I used to watch, she actually had, I believe she had a short-lived talk show for a while too, if I remember correctly. We have Kenya Moore, who is going to be the most hated person on the season this year.
Yeah, every year there's that one person that I know I'm going to hate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Omarosa of the group, or the Nene Leakes of the group, or the Aubrey of the group.
Hey, now.
That person that I just hate so much the whole season.
Talk about it, too.
And I looked at Kenya for 5 minutes.
It took you that long? That's awesome.
Her personality shined through very, very quickly enough to realize, wow, I'm going to hate this person for however long she lasts.
And apparently, so like Miss America, something like that, she's like a pageant winner, I guess. I don't know. I don't know these people. Sorry. We have Brandi Glanville from the Real Housewives of Who Cares?
There's always one.
Yeah, there's always one, and apparently with the deal that NBC has with Bravo, it makes sense they would go a long way. Whether it's right or wrong. We have Kate Gosselin for some reason. Because she really needs money badly.
How much weight did she lose? Because
She lost a lot.
I didn't even recognize her. And the only reason I even know who she is because of the soup. So,
I've never watched John and Kate Plus 8. I never watched Kate Plus 8. I've never heard of anything about this. I've heard like a lot of things about her, but this is the first time I've ever actually seen her. Yeah, exactly. We have Keisha Knight Pulliam from The Cosby Show. And yeah.
That speaks for itself.
Yeah, it really does speak for itself. No risk, no reward, right? So, it's on my notes here. And then we have our Olympians, apparently. So we have...
Because they ran out of ideas, they need to.
We have Jamie Anderson, who I really don't know any very well, and the very beautiful Shawn Johnson, which you told me I wasn't going to say anything, and I told you I wouldn't, but...
Every time he brings up Shawn, he will use an adjective.
She's so pretty. I'm sorry. She's cute and short. That's all I need sometimes.
Okay.
So the teams...
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying that was very predictable of you.
I know it was, and you guys probably out there know exactly. You're like, oh, and I knew you were going to say that. I bet my guy $1, and now I'm out $1. So,
just like you were just trying to defend Aubrey just now.
I think she's pretty.
That's only because of her looks.
Oh, she's pretty.
I think
Aubrey O'Day's pretty.
If she looked like her personality, she'd look like Streeping into the woods.
Never thought of it that way, but it's probably true.
In the first half.
All right, we're going to go with the fact that obviously the teams were brought out into the freezing cold at 30 Rock, and Gilbert kept talking about they need to go back inside, which made me laugh. And obviously the beginning of The Apprentice is about getting to know the actual combatants, the actual teams. And obviously the first thing they have to do is pick the team names. Mm-hmm. And there's some interesting team names. Keisha decided she wanted to bring up Trojan Horse, which obviously they got a lot of condom references. And apparently Team Gold, which everyone knows how much Owen loves the word team in front of anything. So that, of course, because we have Olympians, so Team Gold. And it's like, how about Infinity? I was like, okay, fine, let's go with it. Infinity works. Doesn't sound bad. It's the name of a car company, but okay, sure. Well, not as bad as what the men came up with. So the men, of course, came up with Velocity, which, of course, you guys know, if you're wrestling fans, is an old WWF television broadcast. And then, of course, they obviously brought up the fact that Geraldo needs to have his own team, basically. He needs to be called, like, Team Geraldo. And that was funny. And then Gilbert basically wanted to recreate Charlie's Angels, and that worked out. But eventually they finally settled on another reference, and that is the Kings Island roller coaster, Vortex.
And technically, Geraldo came up with Vortex.
Yes.
And the reason I know Geraldo came up with Vortex is because Geraldo will remind you many, many times that he came up with Vortex.
He came up with a lot of things. One thing I will say about Vivica A. Fox, as I was talking about it, I forgot about it in my notes, that she's really starstruck by Piers Morgan.
That's weird.
It was strange. It's like...
Because she's been around a while.
She worked with Tarantino, and Piers Morgan comes. It's like, oh my god! She like fangirls out and everything.
She did that romance movie with Morris Chestnut.
We just talked about yesterday.
Yes. Two Can Play That Game is the name of it.
Okay, there we go. So, in my wonderful notes, I'll mention the fact that apparently the first task was Pie Face. They were selling pies.
It's always food in the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the opening project managers were Keisha Knight Pulliam and, of course, Geraldo, because Geraldo has to be the center of attention because his pies literally have his face on them. Geraldo is more worried about the social media aspect,
You generally have... When you have your two people that pick themselves to be the project managers for the first round, you typically have two kinds of people. The person that knows they're going to win and the person that is going to lose.
That's the perfect way to put it. It really is.
And that did not fail us this year either.
No, it did not. So, Infinity came up with they have sweet and savory pies. One was like a blueberry pear, and the other one was like an enchilada, I guess, like a taco pie, I guess, something like that.
It started off as taco pie, then it turned into enchilada, and they never decided whether or not they were going to call it enchilada or taco.
Yeah. Well, apparently the wife of Kevin Jonas has an awesome icebox recipe, so you could have taken that out of the wrong context, and I'm sorry about that, the way it was worded. But apparently icebox pie was picked for the guys' team, which is awesome because it's graham cracker pie, basically, is what it is. Yeah. And graham cracker pie is awesome.
Yeah, because I was thinking, he says, like, this is my wife's recipe, and I was like, wow, that looks like a pretty generic recipe.
He said it was hers. He didn't say it wasn't generic, or generic in this case. Someone else should be on The Apprentice someday.
Now, I want to talk about Kevin Jonas real quick, since we're talking about this episode.
Okay.
I could be out of line here, and he proved to be, a strong player.
Yeah, definitely, while he was
for the
there.
2 days he was here. But, the question I had was, I totally understand where he was coming from, he was the youngest one there. And,
yeah, of course.
He had to make sure people could take him seriously. Did you think in the first half it got better, but in the first half of the first episode, he seemed to be trying a little too hard, almost to an annoying degree, to try to make himself seem
more important than he is?
Just to get himself, I don't know, but he's
trying to get himself over.
Yeah.
He's like, my social media followers, I have like 4 million social media followers, you guys have nothing compared to me, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I could tweet like hi, and like 4,000 people have retweeted it in like 2 seconds.
Overreacting about the time.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they did need to be moving faster, but he was like, I don't know, it just seemed like he was trying a bit too hard to prove himself.
Yeah.
Right away.
He apparently is going to be the social media guy for this season because apparently he's the one that's actually doing that for the entire season. Like for both teams.
Oh, okay, I know what you mean.
Yeah. I was reading about that. It's really the only reason I know that.
Now, but...
Yeah. He can, and he does. Mm-hmm. So apparently Lorenzo came up with the idea of the second pie, which is apparently like a chicken pot pie, basically is what it was, in all essence. So Sig burned the pies because... Yeah, let's let the fisherman in charge of the pies. Gilbert wants to create some sort of a carnival atmosphere, call a bunch of his friends, get like fire eaters and everything outside. Howard Stern look-alike. And, of course, because it's Geraldo, just like I said, all the pies have his face on them. Sure.
To move this a little quicker, I want to talk about something involving Keisha Knight Pulliam that was kind of getting on my nerves.
Okay.
I can kind of understand, because here's the thing. The issue with being in the boardroom is that, I mean, you could say this is cheap, and this is kind of, Trump being a douchebag, but I kind of like it because it keeps the game interesting and keeps everybody on their toes.
It's true.
The problem with being in the boardroom is it seems like the rules are constantly changing.
Oh, yeah.
And only... are to be abided by in the situation that you are currently in.
Totally.
Because there are 2 different scenarios involving Keisha Knight Pulliam here, which are, obviously this is pre-recorded from a while back, because everybody was talking about how great Bill Cosby is, and how she should have called him.
Yeah.
And this could have gone 2 different ways, and neither of which were in her favor.
No.
she could... Obviously, she didn't call him, and then people were saying that's a bad idea, and she got called out for it, and they're saying, you're not using your resources and stuff like that. Now, she could have fought for herself and said something along the lines of, well, I plan on being in this game for a while, and I don't want to use my big resource yet.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why she didn't say that, but...
She just curled up and died, basically.
But then, had she called Cosby, Trump in the boardroom would have said, did you just use up your biggest resource? So
she can't win either way.
Yeah, it really just depends on how the rules are the moment you're in the boardroom, because it's always going to change. So, that was kind of... I think she would have had a better shot at staying if she had spoken up and said, I would like to stay in the game longer and I can't use my biggest resource yet. I don't think she would have gotten in trouble for saying Cosby's her biggest resource, because that would have been a big fucking resource.
Yeah, no lie.
So, yeah.
So, well, what else we have here? The poster to promote the guys' team had Geraldo on it twice. A big picture up front and one in the back.
Which I didn't notice until, who was advising this? Was it Don Jr.?
Yeah.
No, it was Piers.
No, it is Piers here.
I didn't notice Geraldo was on. I saw, the front and center Geraldo, but I didn't see that he was with the group, too, until Piers pointed it out.
And this was kind of a throwaway line, but I thought it had to be mentioned. Brandy brings up a line that says she only likes to be sticky with a super hot guy, which made her sound really awesome.
I mean, trashy by it.
That's extremely sarcastic right there, yeah.
I did like that little... I don't know how to feel about Kate Gosselin. I mean, I know the reason she's famous, you could probably just hate her, on the grounds of it.
Yeah.
And I probably eventually will.
Probably.
It's always interesting to see who you start off thinking, I wonder how I'm going to feel about a person, and then by the end, you just can't stand them. And there was that moment that I found funny where I can't remember which one she was talking to. It might have been Vega, but she said something she was trying to put something together, and she said, crossfire hopes to die, and then, but don't stick a needle in my eye. And then she was, waiting for a response, and the person just kept talking, and she was, waiting for a reaction.
No jokes.
To her little not-so thing.
Her horrible attempt of a joke. Apparently the cake boss shows up. The first time I've ever seen this guy, like I said, I tweeted it out today. He looks like a cross between Don Jr. and Shane McMahon, because the joke between us is Don Jr. basically is Shane McMahon, so I thought that was kind of funny. And he was going to give a bonus to whichever pie of the four that he decided was the best. And he ended up giving the bonus to the women, so that works.
But it didn't.
It didn't matter. Apparently, Geraldo thought that Gilbert was going to act like Mr. Magoo. Yeah. I thought that was kind of funny. Lorenzo brought in no money.
Did you get the idea? You weren't watching yet.
Okay.
When this happened, but I was getting a vibe that, and he was even eliminated at the same time.
Okay.
Gilbert Gottfried this year was kind of like Tom Green was.
You told me about him, and I didn't really get to see that season.
He was the comedian that came in that everybody was prepared to not take seriously, and he actually ended up doing really well, but got eliminated way too early.
Yeah.
So even I think that was the season of Joan Rivers, because Joan Rivers defended him when he came back for the finale, and she said, you were fired unfairly and stuff like that. So
some people are.
So yeah, and it was, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember it being a bullshit reason that Tom Green got fired. And yeah, I do think it's really funny and poetic, though, that Gilbert once again got fired for his humor. Yeah.
So, of course, the guys' team did win rather, handily. I think it was $186,000 to 94, something like that, so yeah.
Which is really, it's going to be really interesting to see. I mean, I know Geraldo, does well with the connections. Yeah. But I'm wondering how much of a dent how much of a drop-off we're going to notice in fundraising tasks with Kevin gone now.
Yeah, that's a good point. What are the ratings going to have once Kevin is gone, too?
Yeah, you'd think, obviously, with people like Gary Busey, that Trump thinks about ratings when he decides to keep people.
The Real Housewives always last a really long time because of that.
Yeah, so that's an interesting loss with Kevin Jonas.
Yeah, already.
It's really second episode.
It's true. We'll get to that in a second, actually. So, of course, Keisha gets taken to the boardroom. She's allowed to bring in 2 people. She brings in Jamie and Kate. Says Brandy throws Kate under the bus, says she was lazy. So everybody's trying to defend themselves. And the fact remains that Keisha Knight Pulliam is not made for this at all.
It's worth noting that nobody in history of the world has ever described Kate Gosselin as lazy before now.
No, not at all.
That must be known.
But according to also comment in this, Kate only makes money because of her kids.
I suppose we should be careful what we say here, because these are the kind of people that may actually come across this.
Yeah. I'm saying what was said on the show. I write notes as I'm taking along. So, the second task, actually, after Keisha got sent packing, which, of course, we found out the new gimmick that watch me tomorrow on the Today Show, and I'll tell you the whole story from my perspective. We get our second task of the Neat commercial. And this time, it's Kevin Jonas against Kate Gosselin. And yeah, that didn't work out. Kenya, of course, is missing for the first time, probably of many.
Which was probably for the best.
Yeah.
And apparently, Kate Gosselin was not prepared whatsoever to be the project manager, but went ahead and took it anyway and relied on everybody else and somehow won for it.
Has no idea how to deal with technology.
Speaking of that, did you notice that we don't see them giving the checks to the charity anymore?
Yeah.
That's missing.
That's strange.
I mean, that's, you know...
It's only the first couple episodes, but we should have seen that at least, unless they do it all, like, the next episode.
It makes it all shady now. Because it's like, that was kind of like their proof that that's where they took the money.
We're not implying anything whatsoever to anybody that's watching this video.
Because there are a lot of people on the show this season that could probably use those checks.
You mean like when indie promoters do benefit shows for people just because they basically need gas money?
Hi, I'm Iron Zero from Sharknado. And since you know me from Sharknado, it's pretty clear that this check must go to the Iron Zero Fund.
A check has been made in your favor by the Human Fund.
I also have 90210 t-shirts I am making in my backyard that I am willing to sell to you for about $150 each. $200 if I sign it.
Buy my I Heart Iron t-shirts.
We shouldn't be like that to Iron. He seems like a really nice guy. And I feel bad for, like, bashing, like...
He's actually someone I think is going to go really far here before we go any further into this.
Well, that's the thing, though, is sometimes he's, like, Trump even called him out on it. He might be a little too nice in the boardroom. That could be the death of him.
Yeah, that's the problem he's got, honestly, right
like
off the top.
When he was brought in, when he shouldn't have been brought in, like, Trump almost set him up.
Oh, yeah. He looked like he was about to go. And, of course, let's talk about the teams for this episode. So, Geraldo says, I am Geraldo. I'm not to be trifled with. Geraldo's slogan is simply neat, sweet. Yeah, that didn't get over very well.
It was hilarious watching Kevin Jonas try to shut him up over the phone.
I know. Yeah. Geraldo...
I believe the exchange was neat, sweet over and over again on one side, and Geraldo on the other side.
Turned to Jan Brady for a second there. But that was great. And it was great because when they're trying to get the troops rallied, they're trying to get some ideas, the execs show up, and Geraldo's on this loud-ass phone call. Seriously, he's like screaming out, and they're like, Geraldo, and he's like, I gotta take this, man. And it's like, go to the other room. And he walks like 5 feet away. So, of course, he could continue the loud phone call. So, of course, on the girl's side, Kate's off in left field. She doesn't know how to use technology, apparently, according to this.
How does she... I didn't even really see that exchange. Was she pressured into being project manager? How did that even happen?
It really seemed like she was. It's not like they were, but it's not like...
Were they trying to get rid of her?
You might want to be PM right now. Why do I want to do that? You just might want to be PM right now. And that obviously did not work. Well... Since Kate's off in left field, Lisa Gibbons takes over, and she tries to be like the de facto PM here, and that somewhat works. But
I'm surprised people didn't try to call Kate out on that, and like in the boardroom.
Well, Brandy said she sucked, so I mean, by those words, so yeah.
Was this the episode where Sean was like hellbent on the fact that they lost?
I believe so.
No, that was the first episode because they actually did lose.
No, it was the first one. Yeah. No, she's mad because she got thrown under the bus by Vivica during the later on
because she commented on her womanly issue.
Yeah, that was wrong. That's the third episode, actually. So, I don't even want to say that because it's probably not a good thing to say on camera. I don't care.
Oh, then you definitely should.
To me, Brandy Glanville looks like old Taylor Swift with glasses. Like hipster Taylor Swift, like she does now, like in the video. She kind of looks like Taylor Swift. Not to say she's old, I'm just saying she looks like an older Taylor Swift, because obviously Taylor Swift is a younger girl. And I'm not trying to dismiss anything here. So, Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs gets called in to do the VO for their commercial. And if Geraldo gets all butthurt because he's not the one that does it, he's like, I've won awards, and I'm not going to be the one that gets to be the voice
I go to
over here.
war-torn countries. How many times are we going to hear about the war-torn countries? There's something...
War-torn countries.
There's something with everybody. Everybody has their own, like, catchphrase kind of thing every year. Like, Lou Ferrigno with 110% and stuff like that.
The Buseyisms.
This year, it's Geraldo to talk about all the fucking countries he's been. That is going to come up in every episode in one way or another to describe and explain how he is useful and needs to be prominent in every task.
And Kevin treats him like a 5-year-old by doing the 5-second rule for him when he's trying to talk. I thought that was really funny. So, basically, we go a little first in this, and Gilbert ends up calling Trump Hitler at one point. Basically, in all essence.
But to be fair, Trump did say the truth, which is only Gilbert Gottfried could get away with it.
Exactly.
But apparently he can't get away with talking about having sex with his wife in front of a dinner guest.
Yeah, that ends up really not working out to their advantage whatsoever.
I don't know if it was so much the whole, that means an attractive woman had sex with me twice. It's that he pointed to one of the guys in the room and said, that means there's hope for you.
That means there's hope for you. Yeah, that went over really well. So, of course, because of this, all this clustery, Infinity wins. So, trying to get rid of Kate doesn't work. And Kate's charity wins, and all of a sudden, apparently Jamie has like a moment of clarity to have all of them hold hands because they've not been fired.
I don't know what
that was.
It was
just
like a coven or something.
Very well could have been, to be totally honest. So, yeah, that's what we had here. That was interesting. Don't go against Geraldo in the boardroom. That's something we should learn real quick.
I love how even the women knew that. Like
That's what I'm talking about.
When Kevin brought him back in. And everybody was just, well, Kevin's done for.
Ian never should have been brought back. He was only brought back basically to be an advocate here. And that ended up working well. And eventually it's basically mentioned that they looked like they were going to get rid of some people. They looked like they were actually going to fire someone else at this point. And everyone is like, they're not going to fire Geraldo. It's not going to ever happen and everything. And it looked like there was a chance he might go. But it didn't happen.
I'm really, with how strong of players Geraldo and Kevin were, I'm surprised I didn't go on the basis of that.
Yeah.
So he actually kind of got lucky.
But Geraldo did stick to the fact that Neat Sweet would have been a better commercial. So yeah, we'll play a game how many times I say that in this video. Kevin basically says he shouldn't be fired, but Ian never should have been brought back. And he can't really defend himself very well, so Kevin gets the boot. So, he gets the boot because he says that Ian should survive. If he would have said that Ian should have been fired, he might still be on the show. Possibly. And, of course, watch him the next day on the Today Show. So, let's get to our last episode.
Yeah.
This is 3 episodes. That's the reason why it's a little longer than normal videos will be.
Who do you think you're, Craig Ferguson or something?
Sure, we'll go with that. So, Ian walks back in. Everybody is really ecstatic and everything. And then all of a sudden, Geraldo comes in. It's like, shoo, room's deflated. And Vivica just starts jumping on his junk right away and puts him over left and right. And Geraldo doesn't like people pointing at him. Because
he is a good player.
He's a great player. That's the problem.
You can't really...
You can't... And he talks in third person, of course, because that works. Well, task 3 is the Luvo tasting.
In the first season, I felt like the only person on Pierce's side. Because everybody was like, oh, but Tracy Atkins is so nice. But it's like, yeah, but Pierce is a fantastic player.
Yeah, and that's the second time that Trace Atkins beat people that were more deserving.
No, he fucking lost the first season, remember?
No, I don't
that's
actually.
Why Pierce is an advisor.
Well, he should have lost the second time, too. I'm still angry about that, and I'm never not going to be. So, we get the PMs this time around being Vivica A. Fox and T.O. So,
hey, that's Coach Fox.
Yeah, oh yeah, Coach Fox with the mustache and everything. Well, the slogan this time around is "Love yourself one bite at a time." So that's a nice little slogan. Doesn't really roll off the tongue, but it's not bad. And I think T.O.'s kind of like lost in his own world here. He's trying to get things done, but he doesn't seem like really a good project manager. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, you mean like when he was kidding around with Gilbert and stuff?
Love yourself. Sean's having some issues, so she's going to be a little bit crabby, to say the least. And they took like 8 hours to get props.
Actually, well, besides that, I did understand where they were coming from, where despite Sean warning about that, she didn't really come off like there was a problem.
Not at all. She grin and bear it. That's basically what.
But then we
did.
don't know because she went shopping for 6 hours. So.
Yeah. So Geraldo wants to spice it up. Apparently, he wants like chicken chili verde. So, sure, all right.
I love how every time Geraldo goes to speak at the beginning of a task, you just see everybody just.
What's this guy gonna say next? Ian comes up with a new buzzword of steam-azing. And Gilbert wants T.O. to do the black handshake.
Yeah. Gilbert was all about the inappropriateness this time around.
Yeah, he really was. That's what pretty much was his downfall here. So Geraldo is trying to pressure Gilbert to pull a reverse Bobcat Goldthwait and not be in character and pretty much talk about his kids. And he doesn't seem really intent on doing this. He's kind of getting pressured into doing it.
Yeah, it's like Gilbert Gottfried. If you like know about him and you have heard people talk about him, Gilbert Gottfried never loses the voice.
No,
he will tone it down, or it will be what it is.
Yeah, Lorenzo in the second episode was like saying, "Can you be a little bit quieter?" I thought that was funny. So, and then we go into his when he bombs in front of the entire crowd. He says
that was hard to watch.
It tastes fattening, but it's not. And he talks about his low self-esteem, and it's some really dirty stuff that should not have been said in front of mixed company. And eat lean, live long, Luvo for a delicious life, which also doesn't roll off the tongue, but it sounds a little bit better, I guess. So
what sucks about that too is their presentation was so nice up to that point.
Yeah, it really was. It was going really well. T.O. was a really good spokesman, really not saying much.
Lorenzo was doing well.
Lorenzo did a great job. And then, of course, Infinity came out dressed like flight attendants, because that's what happened. And apparently there was an issue in the kitchen, and stuff was not coming out as fast as it could, so they had to stall.
I think Lorenzo's probably a much stronger player than he initially... Because in that first task, when he didn't raise any money, everybody raised their eyebrows.
Yeah.
But in the normal task, he seems to do really well.
I agree.
And really, bring something to it.
So then Vivica throws Sean under the table, becoming my least favorite person on the show for that moment, basically by saying that, under the table, because under the bus would have been a little bit... That's later. So, basically says, you know what? She needs to be on another team. We want Geraldo. Well, first off, number one, I think Sean would be a lot better fit on Vortex anyway, but that's another story altogether. Maybe we'll find that out sooner rather than later. Who knows? You didn't hear that from me. So, basically, you have all this going on, and Vivica wants a new teammate, and it's like, hey, this is how we're going to do things. Like, no, I want to get rid of her, so... That almost happens, but thankfully it doesn't. So, basically at this point, she checked out. She was letting her womanly issues, cloud her judgment of the entire task and everything. She did nothing. Well, first off, it may have taken, pretty much a whole day to get props, but that's an important thing to do. Because if you don't have props, you don't have a commercial.
It's 6 hours.
But you have to drive around in Manhattan traffic. I mean, come on.
6 hours.
She wasn't driving. It was probably some driver, but still... And Jamie brings up the fact, finally, that Kenya brings nothing but drama. She walks into the editing bay at the last second. That's pretty much the end of that. And Jamie tries to talk. Kenya basically shuts her down, Omarissa style. And that's pretty much the end of that. So the executives love the message for Infinity's team. Lisa was great, but the execution was off. Not enough details on packaging, brand integration, stuff they always talk about every single year. They love the service, but it's going way too slow, and they couldn't defend their slogan, so they were kind of dead in the water right there, really. Gilbert's humor was the reason why that the guys didn't win here. It wasn't family friendly, so that's the end of that. So basically the guys lose again. And Sean gets to the back and talks to Vivica and says, you know what, I respect you, I respect everything about you, but that was kind of low what you did in front of everyone. Like, bringing up my womanly issues and everything. It's just like, that was really wrong, to be totally honest. I'm not saying it because I'm defending her. I'm saying that because, I mean, it was wrong, honestly. It really was. Sorry. Sorry, Vivica A. Fox fans out there.
So she's going to take you to the baseball field and have a knife fight.
No, she is not. No, she is not. So, basically, Gilbert doesn't think he should be fired, but he doesn't really have his heart in it. You can really tell that, honestly.
Yeah, he was like... You could tell he was gone.
Oh, he was totally gone.
He basically said, you know, I could be here, I couldn't be here. It's...
See, that was the nail in the coffin right there. If I need to be here, I have to be here. I need to win for my charity, not I could be here, I couldn't be here.
Unfortunately, that's kind of when the boardroom can get a little boring.
Yeah.
When people just start like practically sacrificing themselves. That happens a lot.
We haven't had an actual like I quit moment this year yet, but I have a feeling it probably is coming. Even, granted, it's only been a week, but still 2 weeks. But with the episodes coming 2 at a time every Monday, it's really strange. So Geraldo and Gilbert go to the boardroom with T.O., who looks like Titus O'Neil, and that's the first time I referenced that. And Gilbert really can't defend himself, and he's pretty much gone for it. Like, Geraldo looked like he could go at one point, again, but no. Gilbert could not defend himself enough to stay, and he's gone, so... That's what we had for the first 3 episodes. So, what are we looking at this moment, like, for the rest of the season?
That's still way too early.
Like, do you have anybody that you think is going to do really well?
I don't think Geraldo's going anywhere anytime soon.
I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon, but I don't think he's going to win, though.
I don't think Vivica's going anywhere anytime soon.
I don't think Lisa Gibbons is going anywhere anytime soon, honestly. Ian's going to stick around for a while. I mean, I think Lorenzo may be able to, like, stick in the back long enough. He may actually go a couple more episodes before anything happens to him. I don't know. I hope Sean stays around for a long time, obviously.
Lorenzo will probably be one of those ones where eventually he's going to be the project manager and they're going to lose and he'll get fired because he's the project manager.
Yeah, that makes sense. But that's not always what happens because sometimes the project manager can go and that makes sense. But sometimes Trump's like, nope, I'll fire someone else. So it just kind of depends on the task, I guess. So that's what we've got for this beginning of Celebrity Apprentice. The first 3 episodes, the reason why it took a little bit longer than normal, videos will probably be like 15-20 minutes, I think, from this moment forward, except for like the finale, because obviously that's 2-part. But we're going to be talking about 2 episodes a week, is what it sounds like, unless they change the schedule. I thought they just changed it for the Globes, but no, it's Monday now. Monday 8 to 10. And like you said, it doesn't really feel like 2 episodes. It feels like just like there's really no break in. It's like a commercial when it goes in the next episode, basically.
There's not even that. They just keep going.
And like you said, there's no checks being given out yet, so maybe that'll happen eventually. Who knows? Maybe now we've said something, someone will see this video and be like, hey, we should probably give out checks. That might be a bad idea to film that. So, yeah. If you're liking the Celebrity Apprentice, continue to watch these videos. We'll be bringing them out to you guys every single Monday here on Pop, and that's all the way until the finale. And since I don't have someone like Penn Jillette in this race this year, I will be, along with everything for the entire time, we'll get all the way to the end. Which, I know that very soon they're going back to Universal, so hopefully a Mike Aiello cameo is in our future. So, let's see what happens there. So, that being said, tomorrow, we're going to go back into Wrestling NXT, and we're also going to be talking about Impact the next day. Vlog of Randomness and Sip and Snack take you into AJ's movie reviews, Ashley's Gaming with Ash, and Versus for the rest of the week. So that's your week here on Pop. And as always, if you have any questions or you have any comments you want to make, you can tweet me at SirOwenDisney. Email me, SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. If you have any messages for AJ, you can get to him that way. I'll relay the message, no worries. And if you want to leave comments, you're more than welcome to. So thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And real quick, AJ, before I go, who do you think's going to win right now?
The whole thing?
Pick a winner at this moment.
Geraldo.
I'm down to 2. I think we're going to get a female winner this year. I think it's either going to be Lisa Gibbons or Vivica A. Fox. They seem strong, and they have enough connections. I think they're going to go all the way. So, that being said, thank you guys and girls up there for watching. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.